Hello, everybody. Shannon. Okay, I think we have everybody.
Boy. Had a heck of a time getting in today.
Yes, I had to request the town start the meeting for us. So
Sorry.
with that said, let's begin the Cohasset School Facilities Committee for Tuesday, May 23rd, and I will start with a roll call. Kathleen Burns,
Here.
Paul Kearney,
Present.
Jennifer Lesky,
Present.
Craig McClellan, present, Martin Nee, here, Nan Roth,
Here.
Paul Schubert, not here, Douglas Schultz.
Here.
Right. So jump right into it. The first order of business I have on here is the school maintenance plan, next steps. I did have a conversation with Chair Jean Dippold this afternoon. Because I asked her what they needed from us in order to, because I do not want us to be scrambling for this special fall town meeting for the stabilization fund. So what transpired was they pretty much have all the information that we've been discussing. They are discussing part of it tonight in their meeting. They're gonna appoint a liaison for us to help us navigate through capital and advisory. Because the request will, have to go through those two again. And then that way we'll be able to get on the warrant or whatever for the special meeting. It will also push the town to help us go out and get actual quotes for the priority list that we did. So we can actually have real numbers instead of the numbers that we have, which we all know are like, a year and a half old at this point. So we're going to be using that priority list that we already discussed for the 1 to 3 year window. We also are discussing whether or not we can use the MSBA accelerated repair or say the roof, because the 3 schools need new roofs. So that might be an avenue that we can go. So we need to explore that a little bit as well. So those are the main things. We also discussed the feasibility as the second piece of our request that'll go on the hopefully go on the town special warrant election, whatever it is these days, which I think will be, from my understanding, hopefully will be an easy sell, because a lot of people are asking the select board, a lot of people are asking us, what are we doing? What's the cost? So on and so forth. And the feasibility will kind of give us more ammunition and more answers. So we can't really give the public any real answers until we, get that feasibility going, which I think when we present the facts that they should, hopefully be for it. So that's really the update there. There wasn't really anything else. I just didn't want to have to scramble and have happen what happened to the town hall, which was it was on, it was off, then they were scrambling, and I just wanted it to be seamless, get out ahead of it, do any, public relations stuff that we need to do to let the town know that what we're asking for, why we're asking for it. for the repairs for the school, feasibility to get us more answers so that we can give the town answers. The more data, the better. So that's really the update I had on that. I don't know if anybody had any comments, questions, thoughts.
Just briefly, Jason, I feel like, because I had brought the feasibility study issue through, as we all know, through that whole multi-tier, multi-committee process already. And I'm not even sure that any one of those three committees that I presented to even ultimately voted on it, which is like the epitome of frustrating. I think the select board, they initially voted on it and we're going to say it was they said it was going to be on the warrant, but then they like backtracked along with the stabilization fund. I'm not even sure what happened, but capital and advisory, I don't think they even touched it. Like they just, because they didn't want it to happen. So everyone could, because everyone seems to be stuck on the fact that a feasibility study equals a new school plan. And that's not at all what it is. It's a study designed to arm us with information that we need in order to move on a parallel path or even on our own should we go for years without the MSBA inviting us. And we all know that middle high school, something needs to be done with it in the relatively near future. So I had actually intended, after going through that process and being completely disenfranchised with that, I mean, I have an absolute lack of confidence in the current town government process. And so I was just gonna create a citizen petition, and it just skips all those, it just gets on the warrant automatically.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think that, like, because I think this is a question that the people in the community need to confront, not a few people that are on committees, two of which aren't even elected, deciding whether or not it gets on the warrant. I don't think that's appropriate. The stabilization fund, I do think that everyone's generally in support of because it's a fiscally sound planning tool, or a very, very smart, common sense fiscal planning tool. But so I think that that'll get on the warrant, and it's probably beneficial to make that part of a bigger long-term financial plan, which I think is, if Gene Healy-Dipple probably told you, like that's their sort of plan for their
Yeah.
vision for that fall meeting is going to be part of, like, there's going to be a lot of different departments that are going to be, the needs of different departments are going to be put forth and submitted in some sort of coherent plan, I guess. But either way, the feasibility study, I was just thinking, I've gone through it. No one really wanted to hear what we had to say and listen to it, and they just want to discard it as a back channel to get a new school on our own for some reason. I don't know. So I was just gonna do a citizen petition. Like I was gonna bring it to the soccer field and get 200 signatures in one day, and then it's on the warrant, and then we can all talk about it as a community at the meeting, and people can either vote it down or vote for it. I just this whole committee thing is so I don't know what you guys all feel about that. If you guys would prefer that we handle the feasibility study like the issue, like the stabilization fund. And by the way, we're going to have another decision from the SBA in December, which would be probably no work from a feasibility study, even if approved at a fall town meeting, would commence, because we have to go through the bid process to select like a project manager or like a design firm to commence with that study anyway. So, if we get accepted to the MSBA, we just wouldn't move forward with it. But, that's what I want to do, because I'm just frustrated. So I don't know if you guys want to just leave it in this process with the committees and handle it the same way as a special purpose stabilization fund, or if you're comfortable with me creating a citizen's petition, which is, obviously one citizen has to initiate that, but I would probably present it as, as probably a former member of this board. It's something I'll get to when topics not reasonably anticipated within 48 hours of the meeting later on. But I don't know. So what's everyone's thoughts on that?
I think it's a good idea. As long as we develop the materials, maybe a video or some really specific explanation that we can present, and make it really clear what we're asking for. I think that would be good. I'm still confused about the fall. Is there going to be one town meeting or two? Because remember, the selectmen talked about putting all the capital items into one special town meeting. which was distinct from the regular fall town meeting. Where does all that stand now?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure because in my conversations, it was special meeting, then fall meeting. So myself, as
Two separate meetings?
I don't know. I hope there's more clarity tonight because I know they are discussing those topics tonight.
Two
I think
separate.
it's an evolving issue, Nan. I don't think they even know yet, but my loose understanding was that they contemplated having two.
Mhm.
One which was dedicated solely to
Yeah.
physical plant improvements throughout the town
Mhm.
and repair and maintenance needs, capital needs. And then there would be the regular, and that was going to happen. I think they were talking early about having it happen like, late October. And then the next one happens like, late November, early December, I think. They were talking, I think, about two, but I'm sure that that's evolving. I'm sure that they're going to be looking at that, as tonight and at later meetings. But I don't think there's an answer to that right now, Nan.
It's so expensive. It's so expensive to have two meetings. You think they'd figure out a way to consolidate?
One would think. But you were at that meeting with me, Nan. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
So I guess my question on the citizens petition is like, I guess I don't really understand why they didn't put it on the warrant for the last town meeting. So if we think that it's not going to happen again, then I say might as well do the citizens petition if it's going to be like this, unclear process and it might not, and at the last minute, it might not make it on the warrant or whatever. I guess what's the timing of that? Like, does it make sense to try to go through this recommended process, or is it there's just too much uncertainty? I mean, I think we should either one, whatever we think. I think for sure we should do the citizens petition if at some point, it becomes totally clear that we're not going to get it on the other way, or just now if we don't think that's going to happen anyway.
So the way I think I thought the same way as you are. I thought the same thing that you're articulating right now, Kathleen, last time, which is why I went through the regular process. And then by the time I was like deep enough in that, like you have the deadline for the citizens petition is pretty early.
Yeah.
And so I had missed that. And then it became clear that advisory and capital were just completely against this. And so regardless of any sort of merits to it, they were just looking at it like a backdoor way of trying to fund the school, do the school privately, which is not what I'm looking to do. But but I also don't want to spin our wheels waiting for 5 or 6 years for the MSBA to let us in. And then all of a sudden they let us in 6 years from now, and it's another 6 years before they have the school. That's more than a decade from now, right?
Sure. I'm more thinking like citizens petition now or in, August, right?
Yeah, I think if I was going to do the citizen petition, I would just do it now to get it done, and then we would definitely have it signed and ready to go for the special town meeting in the fall. If we're going to go through that, but I don't want to do anything that anyone's not comfortable with. I'm completely frustrated. Like I went through it and I don't even think advisory capital ever really considered it in a vote. They kept on saying, "Oh, well, we need additional information, this and that." And I was like, "You have the information. I'm asking you to consider it given the information you have. Like vote for it or vote against it." And I don't think they even did it. So I think tabled it too. I don't really even know, but they just kind of broomed it, and it's because no one wants it. No one on those committees wants it, and that's just such a small percentage of our community, and most of them aren't even elected to anything. So I had a problem with that, and so I don't know. I feel like it should be a discussion like the town hall thing was at the last time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Craig, I 100% agree with you. That was really not what we wanted to do. I would say this too. I would say that maybe we should consider maybe doing both because, to your point, Craig, they didn't want to even. They thought they were just going to get a new town hall. So a citizen wrote a citizen petition to get the town hall painted. I guess it cost $100,000. But said, "Hey, we're just going to paint it," and he got it through. And you know what? Our town hall was painted, and it's as it should have been. And it's just funny to me that the same folks that have been denying the school any kind of budget funding. We're all for the town hall. And I think we do it both ways. A citizen, the nice thing is the citizen petition is the way to go sometimes. The same with Commonwealth, where a citizen can actually write a bill and get it passed. And it's great to see that we have that same system in our own town. I would be happy to help you do that. I also think that we should probably try
Paul, you're breaking up. Can you hear me? You're breaking up, and so they can only hear like every other word now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think that maybe we can do it both ways.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'll take that as support for me moving forward the citizen petition. Is there any? Let me ask you this: is anyone against me doing that? Doug?
Yeah, Doug, you got your hand up.
Craig, I just pulled up the form on the internet.
Yeah.
Would you be completing that? Would you be filling that form out?
Yeah, and I haven't even looked at it, to be honest, to be candid, Doug. I haven't looked at the form yet, so I don't know if there's a place for me to like put it as like Craig McClellan for School Facilities Committee or something like that. Or
No, this is just it says Cohasset Town Meeting Citizens Petition Purpose, and then there's some blank lines.
yeah,
Then it says proposed article, and then some more blank lines. And then there's a date timestamp up in the corner. And then it's basically a long list, looks like where people would sign it, as you
Yep.
mentioned.
Yep.
So I guess that's why I'm asking, because when it says purpose and proposed article, I wouldn't know how to phrase that or anything. So I was just curious if you knew how to phrase that. And
I do.
okay.
One
And
thing,
I'm for it. I just, it seems like it's rather, it's kind of legal or whatever, but.
It is. And so that's why it probably it does have to sort of come from me. And I'm happy to sort of, I mean, as you know, with these citizen petitions, there's oftentimes like a few people that do it. So we can just be the sort of group that comes up. To Nan's point, I agree. There should be like a little, like a quick presentation. You only have a few minutes to do it, but we, sort of present with the general idea. I mean, I already have like a slide deck put together on it and that I presented to the committees. So we could sort of do like an abridged version of that. And, any of you could join me, at the microphone and presenting that. But yeah, I would fill that out, Doug. And that's the thing I would walk around the soccer field with. I mean, many of the school families are at the soccer field every Saturday. So
Well, here's where it says, there's actually some instructions here. It says the annual town meeting requires a minimum of 10 valid signatures.
Yep.
Special town meeting requires a minimum of 100 valid signatures. It says the first person named on the petition is considered the petitioner. So I'm assuming that's what you're saying. You'd fill it out and then you'd sign it first.
yes, and then we need 100 signatures for special town meeting in order to, and then it automatically is on the warrant.
one
Well,
thing, one thing I
So are those meetings this fall special?
Yes.
Hold on. Both are?
Yeah.
Yes.
All on?
One thing that I think is important is how the petition is worded. If you go back and look at past town meetings and what passed and what didn't pass of citizen petitions, the wording is really important. It needs to be really clear. And perhaps before you go ahead, you can circulate among us
Absolutely.
proposed wording.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely, Nan. 100%.
Good.
So it says the petitioner will be the designated and primary speaker in support of the article at the town meeting unless someone else is noted below. So it talks about who the speaker is.
Yeah, I mean, we can note anyone. I don't even have to be the person, guys. I'm super aggressive about this. I'm just so sick of I'm really fed up. So
Mhm.
I just want to do it. So I just
Yeah.
want to make sure no one's against it. And then we can I don't care who's presenting or who wants to be the champion of it or in the group. It doesn't matter. I definitely wanted this group's input in terms of whether we do it and then what it says. In terms of what Nan was just pointing out, like the language, because I completely agree that that makes a huge difference in terms of like people's votes, and people's just overall understanding of it. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail this discussion and add to this meeting, Jason. It's sort of like, I mean, you were talking about it, and I don't want to go through that committee process again because I already went through it. Like, it was you.
I know you did, and I made that point very clear, and I told people to watch the meeting and what happens after you left the meeting, as my reluctance to go through any process that deals with that committee. But I said, or at least a stabilization fund, a revolving fund to do maintenance on these schools. If I have to go through that, I will do it again. And I want them to be on record as whether they're for it or not, so then we know, because nobody decided to vote on it. I said feasibility is a separate topic. We can, like I said, if you want, I have no problem with the citizens petition. I think that probably most likely would be the only way it gets on there. I know that capital and advisory will most likely be okay with the repair stabilization fund, because I guess it's been, I don't want to say their fault, but one of the reasons why none of the buildings in the town have a maintenance plan. There is none, zero, zip, for any of our buildings, which is ridiculous. So, you know, they bear some of the blame on that, in my opinion. And we got to do what we need to do to get these schools fixed. And that's the direction I'm going in.
I also think someone should just go and sit down with Chris Senior, talk to him about it.
Would love to, if he ever returned any phone calls or emails.
Well,
That's the other item I brought up with Dean, is the lack of support for this committee from town hall.
one thing is you can always like walk in and find him. Sometimes that's the best way from past experience. It's just walk in and snag him, and the secretaries always know when he's going to be there. So sometimes it just works best to just charge in.
Yeah, I may have to do that at some point. Okay, so I think I'll.
Good.
We keep losing.
Paul,
Bad connection. Okay. With that said, we need to set some future dates, meeting dates. So the next one, the last Tuesday in June, is the 27th. Everyone is good with that? And then the last Tuesday, in July is the 25th. And then the last Tuesday in August is the 29th. And I'm sure we'll have to have some supplemental ones as we get closer to fall town meeting. But those I would think would be the next three, and we'll do 4. September 26th is the last Tuesday in September. So any objections to any of those? Or are we good?
So the 29th of August, you said?
Yes. Yep.
so June 27th, July 25th.
Yep.
August 29th,
Yep. And September 26th.
September 26th.
Okay.
And all Zoom.
Yes, I'm gonna, for now, we'll just keep them as Zoom, and if we need to do some in-person stuff for whatever reason, we can schedule them at that point. It just seems to be easier for everyone to do a Zoom than showing up. But at some point, I'm sure we will, to introduce ourselves to the community at large. Next item is, oops, lost that. Approval of minutes. Do we have any? I don't remember.
Yeah, well, we had minimal minutes from the last meeting, which. I don't find, but
Nan, I couldn't open those.
yeah, I need to turn them into a PDF. If you can't, open them, you should just email me and I'll remember to turn it into a PDF. I
Okay.
tend to
Right,
forget.
so we'll punt on that until next meeting. On that one. And then I lost it. 1 second. And then the next is topics not reasonably anticipated within 48 hours. I do have one thing, and then I know Craig, you do too. The 2 members that have never shown up are going to be replaced. There will be possibly 2 new moderator picks either this week or next week. So the next meeting, we should have 2 new members. I'm not going to say who or what, because I don't know if that's going to be official or not, but I did have a conversation with one of them, which will, I think, help us a little bit, because he's been very involved with the town. So that's the update on that. Craig, you had something?
Yeah, so there are now 3 sitting school committee members on this committee. And I guess that is something of a problem of some sort. So the school committee, I mean, when I had first established this committee, I we were struggling to get the moderator and the select board to name their volunteers or their nominees. So we had appointed Kathleen was the other school committee member. She was the 3-year term nominee from school committee. And then we were short on, so Paul and I volunteered to do it so we could start to get a quorum for this committee. I guess that's become an issue. So I'm gonna work to figure out 3 replacements for the school committee members so that there's a division between school committee and school facilities committee. I haven't even started it really yet. I'm just letting the committee know that likely Paul and Jen and I won't be continuing on in the distant future on this committee.
Don't you think there should be one school committee person on the committee as a kind of a liaison?
I don't think there could be a liaison, but we can't be a voting member of the board, I don't think.
I think Craig, I think we need at least a liaison, someone to sit in as well.
Well, I'll continue to do that unless Jen wants to. It doesn't matter. I'm happy to do that. I just don't want any sort of I'm trying to avoid any sort of, complaints or whatever, I mean, we're just trying to get things done here. And there's only so many people in the town, especially in school-aged families that have the bandwidth for this sort of stuff. So it just becomes difficult. And then, we're just trying to move things along. So, but I'm trying to avoid any problems. So yes, I'm happy to do that. Or Jen and Paul and I and Ted and Lance will all talk about who wants to do that. Maybe we'll switch it on and off. I don't know. But at the very least, guys, you'll be seeing less of me, I think, and Jen and Paul in the near future.
Well, I think that's too bad because you've all been great on the committee, especially you,
I
Craig.
agree.
And I think it would be nice if you could continue ex officio or whatever.
Yeah, I think we will, Nan, and that's really nice. That's kind of you for saying. I mean, it's something I'm passionate about, and I think all of us would continue on. I know Jen was interested in it. We all would. It's just that it's becoming some sort of issue. So, anyway, that's it. That's not. I mean, we'll still be here until we find someone to replace it. We can't just dismantle the committee So, but I think I have to look at that and talk to Jen and Paul about getting that done, and hopefully the town has some ongoing list of volunteers that are interested in serving on boards that maybe we can look at and pick.
I was told that there was.
Great. Okay.
Reach out to Jean. I believe she has it.
Okay, well, and you know, maybe we can talk to some of our friends and such. Jen, maybe you can talk to your friends too, see if anyone's willing to do it.
Mhm.
Because, you know, this is an important committee, you know, obviously, because we got to keep our schools in ship shape.
Absolutely. And we can always just zoom in,
That's right.
be citizens
Right.
attending the meeting.
Right. That's
I
right.
wonder if any recent former school committee members might want to do it. Just an idea. I'll think of some names too.
Okay, thanks, Kathleen.
Because I agree with Nan. I mean, you guys, of course, have been great. And also, I just think the continuity is nice too, because the missions are so related, you know?
Right.
I was just looking up the terms of everyone on here, and yeah, Craig, you were 630 anyway, so. Of this year, as am I, so I put that on Gene's radar too, to reappoint me, since I was a select board nominee. But other than that, I think everyone else is covered with the two moderators. Well, Martin was a select board appointment, so I may have to change that.
Well, you know, now that we have new select board and some new people on committees, things may change.
Yeah. So we'll see how it all goes. We'll see how it all plays out, but. All right. Other than that, I will take a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second,
Second.
seconded, roll call vote. Kathleen,
Hi.
Paul Kearney,
Oh, he dropped off, I think.
Jennifer Leskey,
Aye.
Greg McClellan,
Hi.
Nan Roth,
Aye.
Doug Schultz,
Aye.
Jason Earls, aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. I'll be in touch.
Thanks,
all.
everybody.
Have a
Thank
nice night.
you.
Jason.
Bye.